Just 10 days after release, this film has pulled in $460 million globally. Yes, we're talking about the Batman today on Geeks with Kids. Let's do this!
What are you talking about?
No one knows what. Oh my goodness! Look at everyone.
Nice.
Well, if you didn't know what we were talking about, I think you would now. Welcome to Geeks with Kids, the bi-weekly geeky podcast that, we don't really talk about parenting stuff anymore, but maybe I'll talk about that during Batman. I think someone said that, it's Hawk. I'll tell you that story later. Anyway, I'm your host this week, Eric, and joining me is Dave, Steve, That's So Rabin, that's Brent, and myself, obviously, because I said it myself first. I'm very tired. So
who's Dave?
No one knows, but we should talk about it.
I think Dave is Canadian for vengeance, but I'm not sure.
So today we're going to be talking about vengeance. I mean, the Batman.
Matt, all do the voice because that's going to be.
We're all going to do it.
Oh, come on. I'm pregnant. Where are the drugs going?
Yep. So we're talking about Matt Reeves, the Batman. It was released on March 4th, and we're finally back together. So we're going to talk about it. But first, like we do every week, we're going to talk about what's good. You know what? Actually, before that, there is a charity that is going on right now. It's called Main Mission. It's from Covenant Toronto. It's a gaming live stream event where people do donations for that go towards at-risk teens and people who have survived sex abuse or sex trafficking, sex abuse and all that. So I have a quick video here so you guys can watch. Here we go.
Covenant House Toronto. That is what we are raising funds for tonight. A lot of the youth that they take in, basically they make meals, they'll provide, mental health services, anything you can imagine.
I know you're going to raise a lot of money and you're going to do a lot of good in terms of awareness raising, and hopefully you're going to have some fun.
10K? 10K! $3,710.
That's okay.
Yep. So we're back. The video's done. If you want to have any more information, there's a link in the chat. There'll be a link in our description. So donate. It's for a good cause. Anyway, like we do every week, we're going to talk about what's good. Let's start with the one that doesn't look like Batman. Steve, what's good, my friend?
You don't look like Batman.
Yeah, I
look
said,
like Batman.
I look like Asian man. Okay, go, Steve.
How come everyone's got popcorn now?
Oh yeah.
Mine is those, those corn twist things. They're not really pop. They're not
that's
pop.
Even better.
Yeah, no, they're salt.
So what's my my good or whatever they call it now?
Yum.
So I actually made it to Endgame in Lost Ark. I thought that might be kind of funny to bring up.
Oh, yeah.
Took me 50 hours.
Oh my God, that's so much.
Now, from what I understand, if I knew what I was doing, I could probably do it in 12. So it probably wouldn't take that long. And I want to add one thing. I'm not like the biggest fan, but I'm actually at the end game. It's kind of fun.
It's
but
I
do want to emphasize to everybody who heard our very complex discussion on it last week. Keep in mind, Lost Ark is free. So yeah, you might not like a lot of shit. And there's a lot of crap in the game, like a lot.
Free for you to put 50 hours.
Mostly. Hey, look, free's free, man. You can get a free game that you can put 50 hours in, and then I might even get an extra 10 hours of fun out of it. Or you could buy, I don't know, Battlefield 2042 and just get fucked in the A like right away, right? So whatever, okay, that's all I got to say. $100 for a piece of garbage or free 50 hours of who knows, right? But that's the thing you guys got to keep in mind, man. Like they made this game, they kept adding crap to it. Doesn't all make sense. It's kind of like Warframe. Just keep adding. It's a lot of content.
Hey, don't downplay Warframe. Warframe is awesome.
I love Warframe.
Warframe's
I love Warframe.
Space Ninjas.
But it has a similar development cycle where they sort of kept adding things, and it's just very hard to sort of keep track of what you're supposed to be doing. So anyway, I will report back on Lost Ark. My happy thing right now is I'm watching Irish horror movies. I'll talk about that more next time. But I'm very scared and alone. And everything is bleak.
I would love to. I would love to see more of
I
these.
got my hands on a copy of Halo to watch.
Yeah, me too. Haven't watched it yet. I feel like that's a daytime watch thing.
Man, no, look, okay, for anyone who, I'm going to create a list as I go. If you're a parent, don't watch The Hollow.
All right.
It's just going to stress you out. All right, there. That's what
Fair
I'm going to
enough.
say this week. All right,
are they going to
Oh.
Manchester by the Sea it?
Steve has no phrase.
See Affleck in a movie?
Harcraft said about what was that, Lost Ark, free for 43 minutes of garbage.
I still think that's better than paying $110 for DICE or EA pounding me in the butt again. Wow, everyone's frozen.
Listen,
Nope.
some people are into that, Steve.
Nope.
So,
Bueller.
No, we're here.
Don't yuck their yum.
Bueller. Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway,
It's just sorry,
me-
up here
just
in
me
Canada,
dissing
we
EA
move a
again.
little slower.
The internets.
Life moves a little slower up here north.
All right, let's move over to. Are you done with your yum?
Yeah.
You're good. All right,
I'm done.
Brent, let's do it. I said it earlier.
I know. I'm just trying to ignore that.
I'm just gonna keep going with the yum.
Yeah, like I said beforehand, I could come on and make my yum Elden Ring, but I figured Hawk.
How many hours are you on?
I'm just crossed 80.
Damn it, I'm only at 20-ish. I'm at level 50, I think.
I'm into the end game now. I think I'm in the one of the last two main areas of the game now.
I'm into the end
I don't
game.
know. Every time I think I'm at the fucking end, the map gets bigger. They unleash a new area.
Last night, as I was talking to Hawk playing Elden Ring, I climbed up a mountain I was not supposed to go up. And it was very painful, but it was awesome.
It happens.
I loved
It
it.
happens in that game a lot.
I kept going until I beat a mini boss, and I was like, okay, I'm good right now. I'm good for the night. Good. Sorry, Brent.
No, my yum, as we talked about beforehand, is especially now that the season's over, is Last One Laughing, the Canadian comics. Holy shit!
It's so good.
It's so good. The perfect finale, the absolute perfect finale.
Just for people who don't know, explain the show.
So there's
So the concept of the show is they invite. Yeah, it's my yum, Eric. Fuck off.
Nope, I'm gonna talk about the whole time. How do I mute you?
So the concept of the show, for those who don't know, is they invite 10 Canadian comics, put them all into a room, and tell them basically you can't laugh. If you laugh, you're eliminated. The last person left standing wins the $100,000 for charity. And it's just them doing everything in their power to try and make each other laugh and get out of there. And it is watching people not laugh is 1,000 times funnier than watching people laugh. Like seeing the shit they come up with to try and get under each other's skin.
Oh
and
my
try
God.
And, like just as soon as they see like, oh, we're starting to get this guy, and they just really start digging in on that person. It's just so fucking fun to watch.
Yeah,
I wish
sounds
Jay
like a great show.
Baruchel could like
Host
tone
better?
it down a little bit.
He was the
Like,
worst host. Just the worst host.
He's not good. He's not good. And just you can tell like how when someone's uncomfortable when fuck and fuck is funny. The word fuck is funny, so I'll say fuck every fucking 2 fucking seconds.
I noticed
'cause
that too.
Fuck, that's funny, right? Fuck, right? Fuck. Like
It felt so forced, right? It like incredibly forced, and it
I
like
thought this was your yum.
it's Jay Baruchel. He's the only one that's not the
one thing
good
I
one.
don't like about it.
Yeah.
What I did like about him as the host is I love the way, especially Jean Lajoie would fuck with him. The way that he would get on that phone and just find ways of making Jay Baruchel look like a fucking asshole was brilliant.
My favorite one was the hi. Oh yeah, okay. I can totally I'll tell them, Jay. I know it's uncouth to say this, but can we all just lay off Harvey Weinstein? It was that, and I was like, oh my god. I was like,
What was that one? Jay's calling. He just wants to tell me the story about his weekend with R. Kelly.
The cast is amazing. Did you want to name off the comics who were in it?
Caroline Ray, Tom Green. Caroline Ray, who I did not know was Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Green, Dave Foley, Jean Lajoie, Colin Mockery, who is unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Now that he is not like he's no longer restrained by the family-friendly ABC network, he can now just get out there and show what he's really made of, and he is fucking unreal.
Pelvis of Steel, that man.
Yeah, lots of cameo appearances from people too. Like there's a bunch of cameos from the cast of Kim's Convenience.
Yeah, because Andrew Fung is in it.
Yeah.
Did we miss anyone? Mae Martin, Deborah DiGiovanni.
Mary DiGiovanni, K. Trevor Wilson from
K. Trevor
what's the
Wilson.
name of that show? Letterkenny.
Letterkenny, yeah.
He's
then,
a pretty good stand-up.
Yeah.
Brandon Ash Muhammad was the last one.
Brandon Ash. Oh yeah, he was quite good when he did his thing. His things. Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's free. Yeah. Watch it. It's
lots of different versions. Like there's a German version, an Italian version, a Spanish version. No American version, which kind of surprised me.
I gotta admit, Rebel Wilson was a really good host.
There was an American version. It was on Rooster Teeth.
That's fair.
They did their own version. That was the first one I heard of. Was Rooster Teeth? It was called Last Laugh, hosted by Jeff Ramsey of Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter.
The Last Laugh.
It
was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually did a second season.
I don't know. I didn't see the second season. Or maybe I just saw the second season. I don't know. Anyway,
should we talk about Elden Ring for Shouse in the chat?
What? I missed what he said.
Should we make like a 10-minute segment to answer his questions about Elden Ring?
I am in need of some better robes and armor, I think. For the astrologer, there are a number of them, but where I went is the School of Sorcery.
Answering me on Facebook, so I know where you are at.
The School of Sorcery, which is in the second section of the second main area of the map after you beat the castle. Yeah. That's where you can get the better stuff. Like out of like, I kept most of the beginner stuff except for a couple armor pieces I grabbed off of some soldiers. But the better gear comes in that sorcery school. There it is. All right, Dave, what's your yum? What's your yum?
This guy.
Look at this fucking guy.
I told you I was going to watch something, Eric, and I did. I watched all of it. I watched the Cuphead show on Netflix.
Right.
And it is kid appropriate.
It is
7 and up, even though it has the devil. It's very good. It's very Looney Tunes esque. I actually really enjoyed it. I kind of watched it in the background. Like I didn't really laugh out loud, but the animation is, as you would imagine from the people who did Cuphead, phenomenal. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, kind of like brings you back to like watching cartoons as a kid, but like you don't know this one. You know, if you watch Bugs Bunny, you're like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. But yeah, and the anime, like, I don't think we get animation of that quality. Especially, I don't know if it's still hand drawn for the show, but it certainly looks hand drawn. It is beautiful.
So
especially in HD,
they did it all on. So they did the original sketches on paper, but when they animated it, they did it through tablets and stuff.
That was the game, though, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They did it for both.
The show.
Like yeah. I had friends that worked on the game because they were part of the music. So
which is also great.
Yeah, and I can't remember. He said he was going to come in and do some of the TV show, but I haven't watched enough of it to hear him. I haven't heard him sing yet, so we'll see.
It's kind of like two-person Animaniacs because it's actually about Cuphead and his brother Mugman, and they live with their father, I guess, Elder Kettle. And it definitely brings a bunch of characters from the game, obviously, into it. But it felt like a two-person Animaniacs where they just, they get into some dumb trouble and then they use some animation bullshit to get out of it.
Yeah.
Piss some people off.
Like all 1930s cartoons. Yeah. The style of animation is called rubber hose. It's like, with the rubber hands and they're like, we're going to dance like this. And the skeleton one that you saw from Disney back in the day.
Everything you liked about 1930s animation without any of the racism.
And they talk about it pretty early in the cartoon too, which is hilarious.
What the hell's wrong with you? I have Tourette's.
Yeah, it's amazing. I hope they get a second season.
It looks like they definitely set up a second season. There's a cliffhanger at the end.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Would you say is it something that would appeal to like the fan base of the game though?
Like,
or are they trying to like widen their audience into like
when you said the game, I thought of the movie, The Game, starring Michael Douglas for some reason.
How does this appeal to fans of Sean Penn?
If you were drawn to the game because the animation style, not because of the difficulty of the game, absolutely. If you just like difficult side scrollers, no, I mean not necessarily. There's no reason to particularly.
I'm just talking like what the general age range like.
It felt the same from the first episode.
That game versus like the age range of people that this show is trying to appeal to.
I mean, I think anybody can watch it. I
Yeah.
think anybody will enjoy it.
My kids have
you
seen
like
me
that
play the video game, and they're like, because it's not adult, it's just hard. So they're like, yeah, it's cool. I don't think they've tried, and they're like, this is too hard. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's too hard for adults, child.
I don't think the game is like the subject matter is just like, well, the devil wants your soul. But like, I learned about that when I was like 4. So
That's fair.
is that
Look how he
is that
turned
weird?
out. He's dressed up as Batman right now.
Amazing. Yeah, that came out not too long ago, didn't it? The Cuphead show. I feel like it's only been like a month or
a couple
two.
weeks ago.
I
Yeah.
didn't do any prep to look anything up.
Don't
for it, 'cause
worry,
it's not like,
I didn't either. Notice how
Netflix
you have
now.
no.
I honestly,
No.
I didn't even remember it was out.
Yeah.
I wanted to watch it just because I knew the animation was going to be so good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm gonna definitely watch more. I've only seen the first episode.
Yeah, watch it with your kids,
I haven't had a chance to. I watched the first one with my daughters, and they liked
It's
it.
Geeks with kids, you can watch stuff with your
Shouts said in the
kids.
chat.
Yeah.
Shouts saying in the chat that he has also watched it and he really enjoyed it, and his kids enjoyed it as well.
He found it funny.
Yes.
And it came out less than a month ago.
Did our Elden Ring tips help you? Okay. Anyway.
Maybe we'll find out. He said nice thanks about the Elden Ring tip. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well,
Is
okay,
he playing on PC or PS5?
PS5, my friend. PS5.
We should get a posse together. In that
We should. I just started invading people. It was fun and not at all painful. It was painful, super painful, like Elden Ring is. That's not my yum. I really do like Elden Ring a lot, and I told everyone here that I wouldn't play more of it until I finished Horizon Zero Dawn. But
You
then
did Horizon, did you?
I built this really good astrologer build, and I've just been having a blast killing things with rocks and pebbles and all this other random shit, like giant magic arrows. And then, I got to go back to Horizon because I'm really near the end.
Each of you, Eric.
I'm really near the end. That's not my yum because my yum is this. This came in the mail today. This.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
You know what? What's funny is I also have that right here because I wanted to show the price.
Well, how about a Texas Instruments BA2
That
business calculator?
is in another
empty cup
desk.
of coffee here.
Oh.
I want to be part of this.
What else is on my desk? Peanut butter.
Yeah.
But it's like super nice. Like this screen is gorgeous. Hold on.
Actually, this came in the mail.
There's a HOTAS thing.
Duty
Coyote?
for it because of freaking UPS.
I bet nobody's got this, but I got some fucking broccoli here.
I have broccoli over there.
I think you.
All
would-
right, here we go. Here we go.
Ooh, Steve.
I got popcorn, mofos. I can't even put it. It's too big on the screen. There you go.
Shows is in the castle right now. So we'll see how he does.
Oh, you do have popcorn. Damn it.
Look at this. There's an update right now. And it's updating. God damn it.
So are you gonna finish Horizon on that thing, or what are you gonna do?
No, because I can't, because this is a Steam deck.
Oh, sorry.
Right. I will finish Horizon. I will play other games on here. Maybe Cuphead.
You could play Horizon on your Vita if you linked it to your PS4. It would be awful.
But then I'd have to Ooh, look at that. Ooh, Steam. And there it is.
Sweet.
The first game I installed, Hollow Knight, obviously.
Nice.
And then
okay, so
as
you
you
should
should.
about that today.
as one
Every
does.
system should just come with that game installed
Right?
automatically.
Right?
Yeah, I
It should.
agree with that. I agree with that.
It controls really smooth. I was surprised at how good the buttons and the analog sticks. It has the 2 analog sticks at the top instead of the up and down, which I'm used to for the Switch and whatnot. It's actually.
Can I point out how much I love the layout that you've got on the stream right now? At Dave Spring, he, him. At That's So Raven, he, him. At Eric C, he, him. Steve.
I didn't want to pick his pronouns for
Steve is
him.
Steve.
Steve defines
Steve is
all
Steve.
logic. Steve defines all gender. Steve defies all information. It's just Steve. That's all you need to know.
Shows
That's all I'm gonna say for the rest of
Link
this.
your PS5 to your Vita? I thought you could only do a PS4 to a Vita or PS3.
You can do the PS4, PS3, and I think PS5 on the Vita now.
All right.
Harcroft, this is the 64 gig one. I did get the cheap one because I am cheap. And also I'm poor.
It's like Steam Deck, but I'm real cheap.
No,
It says you can link your Vita to PS5 and play Elden Ring on the toilet.
there's no way based on the buttons that I have configured for the astrologer. Yeah. I will get a solid state drive upgrade eventually, Hargraf. I did look at the video to take it apart, but I'm fine right now because I don't have many games installed. And the Wi-Fi is stupid fast for it, which is good. Anyway.
I need to get one, but I need to get one for the PS5, but I don't want to spend fucking $200 on an SSD right now. Like,
yeah, the prices are
I'll
pretty.
just delete a game when I'm done with it. Like,
are pretty high right now. Anyway, yeah, the Steam Deck is good so far. As far as it's a great portable prawn machine. Yeah.
That's good to know too.
Yeah,
that would have been my next question, but
it is.
That's what my phone is.
I know it is. So I don't have any news other than William Hurt died the other day, which sucks. He was a great actor. I always
remember him for the Dune
miniseries
television series.
Mm-hmm. He was also great on in the Marvel and MCU because he was Thunderbolt Ross. So it's gonna suck to not see him in the Thunderbolts if they ever make that movie.
Go watch Altered States.
Is he in Altered States?
He's the main.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Am I thinking of a different? I'm thinking of a different thing.
You're thinking of Altered Beast?
One of the last new things that I remember him in that was really good, and nobody really watched it, and it got canceled after one season, was Condor.
Remember Condor.
It was a really fucking good TV series. Like, I really wish it got picked up and carried forward, but he was fantastic in that.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna look that up.
It's a TV show based on 3 Days of the Condor.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
So when you said Altered States, I was thinking Altered Carbon. I was like, he's in that show? That's weird.
Also very good, obviously, but
very different. Different beasts.
I will always remember him for his role as the dad in Lost in Space, where he says the best line, "I love you, wife." One of the most amazing William Hurt performances.
I don't remember that, but I like that movie. It had.
I was gonna say he's really good. Is it History of Violence that he's phenomenal in?
So good in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but that's the one that always sticks out in my mind is A History of Violence. Him and Viggo Mortensen.
Oh man, yeah, he was. Oh, Altered States he was in Body Heat, Gorky Park, The Big Chill.
He got like three Critics' Choice or Golden Globe nominations like 3 years in a row or something like that, and it was for like Body Heat, Altered State, and something else. And it was a big because he just like kind of came out of nowhere because he didn't go to school to be an actor. He was going to be like an accountant or something.
You know what we missed?
He had a very unassuming sort of presence, right? I think that's what made him good.
We forgot Dark City. He was in Dark City. That movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he was.
I just found the I Love You Wife clip.
He wasn't the main character. He was a cop.
Yeah,
investigating the disappearance.
Yeah, he was very good in that movie too. And he was in AI. Remember that movie? Steven Spielberg's Pinocchio.
Was he in AI?
I don't remember, to be honest. Anyway, he was apparently in The Village too, so who knows? We also got word that the Penguin TV show is gonna go. It's actually gonna
HBO Max,
It's actually gonna get made, so that's good.
Wait, actually, I don't know what this is.
They're gonna show his rise in the underworld, in the Batman.
Is it connected to our next topic, or is it
it's Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell playing.
Oh wow!
Playing Oswald.
Okay.
They won't say if it's before the film or after yet.
Sure,
but I assume it's afterwards.
I think
did they say after?
I think they said it's starting before, and it's going to carry up to where the next movie starts. Because he said he wants this out before the next movie.
Ooh,
nice. Also, fun news: Spider-Man: Far From Home has been moved up a week, the digital release, because a really high quality pirated version is online. So now, so if you want to rent it, it comes out tomorrow. Yeah. What else is there?
Good news.
Yeah. Anything else? Apparently, HBO Max is doing a Harley Quinn spinoff called Noonans. I don't know what that is. The cartoon show is really good. Anyway, that's not important.
There's also HBO Max apparently is now also going to be doing God of War TV series.
Yeah.
What?
They're picking up all the properties.
Oh, I love your costume. It's so good.
This was a lot of money a long time ago.
Well, it's worth it right now.
I'll never forget. I don't know why Christian Bale always kind of just purses. He's always like this.
Yeah.
Because the jaws were like this.
They're normal.
Maybe his mask made him look like this.
I can't wait to comment on that when we actually get to that, man. Man.
The last thing I read was God of War was going to Amazon. So
sure.
I might be getting them mixed up. I just know that the God of War was announced as being in production, or it's in pre-production right now.
That seems weird because Sony originally had a deal with Netflix, but maybe that was only in Canada.
I don't know. All I know is that Chris Pratt is going to play Kratos and Tom Holland's going to play the boy. No, I don't know.
Atreus. I would not be surprised.
Could you imagine Chris Pratt?
Come on, boy, let's go. We got to fight the Jormungandr.
For the love of God, please do not make Dwayne Johnson Kratos.
Oh, yeah. You know what they need? They need what's his name from Stargate? SG-1. Chris Judge. He still does the voice. He could still. I don't know how he looks now,
it, but he would. Yeah, like back in the day,
dude.
he looked like
hasn't gotten smaller.
Yeah. He's 57. He could do it. He's 57.
Part of the reason they recast Kratos is because the original actor is like 70 now.
Yeah. And Chris Judge, that would be amazing. Anyway, we're gonna talk about Batman now. The Batman. This movie was created by Matt Reeves, and with music by Michael Giacchino.
Super good music.
The movie came out on March 4th, 2022. And the synopsis is as follows. Batman ventures into Gotham City's underworld when a sadistic killer leaves behind a trail of cryptic clues. As evidence begins to lead closer to home and the scale of the perpetrator's plans become clear, he must forge new relationships, unmask the culprit, and bring justice to the abuse of power and corruption that has long plagued the metropolis. The film stars Robin Pattinson as Batman, Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle, Paul Dano as the Riddler, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. Anyone else we want to talk about? Andy Serkis as Alfred. That's all right.
He's that Colin Farrell guy, but
I said Colin Farrell
already. And we all said, everybody's always said Paul Dano. He said Paul Dano in the interview he was in.
Oh,
so
damn.
Is the entire world saying his name?
I have always heard of pronounced Dano.
Yeah, me too. Dano? Okay.
That's what he said, dude. I'll watch it again.
I'm not going to change. No, I won't.
Go back. Edit it out. ADR that.
Yeah. So we're going to do a TLDR like...
Wait, you didn't mention John Turturro.
Oh, yeah. John Turturro's in it.
He's very good.
It was one of the stars. It was one of the stars. Which one?
Prolific character in the movies. I mean, that guy is like in like so many Batman movies. He's like nobody.
John Turturro is Carmen.
In a lot of Batman movies.
No. Carmen.
Carmen Falcone.
You mean
Falcone.
The character?
Yeah, the character. Yeah, I'm not talking about the actor.
Falcone.
He's
Yeah,
like this
Capone of
like,
Gotham.
low-level mob guy is like the linchpin.
He's not a low level. Falcone.
No, he's just some asshole.
He's
not
in like every other Batman comic. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But he's just a guy, though. He's not Black Mask. He's not like the Joker. He's just like a mob boss, right?
But he's a mob boss with a lot of power, right?
Yeah.
I just find it funny. I'm not knocking it. I'm just not knocking it. I just find it kind of amusing.
I know, but the character like the Maronis and the Carmen Falcone and all those characters had to rise in prominence in the recent movies because of how they're trying to ground them in reality.
Sure.
What way do you ground a movie in reality more than introducing the mafia?
No, it's fair. It's
and
fair.
adding
I just
Nirvana.
find it really funny because I'm watching this movie. I had no idea what the plot was going to be.
It is also that
every Carmine again.
Every movie lately has been based on a story where Carmine Falcone and Maroni have been main character, like very important characters.
We will get into that. So, also the Skarsgård that we're talking about is Peter Skarsgård.
Peter, okay.
At the end of the movie, I think it was my sister-in-law was like, I didn't even know he was in this. I'm like, he's that guy.
Yeah. He looks the same.
I didn't realize. I completely didn't even realize it was him until at the end credits. I was like, "Wait, Skarsgård was."
Yeah, he played the district attorney.
And then I was like, "The district attorney." I'm like, "Oh fuck yeah!"
Yeah, he played Hector Hammond, obviously. So
again,
that's a Green Lantern.
That's the first thing. I don't know what you guys want to say, but that's the first thing I want to say is like the acting.
Okay, wait. Before that, TLDR, too long didn't read. Just one or two sentences. What you thought about the movie overall? No spoilers, because we're gonna get into that right after. Let's go with Steve.
God damn it! You know what? I thought it was a strong movie in its own right, and I actually wanted to hear what everyone else had to say before I had to say anything because
I'll go.
That's why I told you first.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people, when they talk about movies, they try to look for things that are wrong, and I like to look at movies from the perspective of what were they trying to do, and is that a good idea, and did they do it right? and I kind of feel like they did. So I actually have very little to say. I thought it was a very solid Batman movie, its own version of Batman, but I like it, and I think if you like Batman, you should see it. There you go.
All right, Brent.
I walked into this movie with zero expectations because I am so tired of, just like with Spider-Man, every 10 years, why do we have to reboot this franchise again and again and again and again with a new person? I walked out going, this is the fucking Batman movie I have waited my entire life for. This is the perfect representation of him, in my opinion.
Dave.
Next.
Batman's finally a detective. It's Detective Comics. Give me a detective. They gave us a detective. 11 out of 11 batarangs.
I thought he was a good detective in The Dark Knight as well.
But this was a better detective.
This was a better detective story. So
Lucius Fox was a good detective in those series.
That's my TLDR for this was this is the first noir Batman film we've ever gotten, and it's amazing. Go see it. It's very long though. That's the only other thing. Make sure you bring a diaper. All right.
It didn't like okay.
It didn't feel
a
long.
little long towards the end.
It didn't feel long.
But
though. Yeah.
there was the entire time I was fucking starving, and I wanted to go and get like a slice of pizza or something. And I'm literally sitting there from about half hour in. Oh Jesus! Oh my God! It was Dave Spring all along.
What?
Bruce Wayne? Why are you dressed like Batman?
Why are you dressed like Batman, Bruce Wayne?
I sat there from like half hour into the movie wanting to go get something to eat. I sat there for probably about another 2 hours waiting for a moment where I felt I could get up and leave the screen for a second. I'm like, nothing's going to happen for like 30 seconds. I never left.
You fool.
I was never once got the chance to even get up out of my seat.
Even hunger.
I can't even think of a point where you could just like go at any point.
No,
like everything was.
I did read online that there's a scene that in its entirety is on like Warner Bros. Released it. So you watch that scene. And so when you get to that scene, you go to the bathroom or whatever.
That's very smart.
Okay.
I just fasted it's 3 hours. I just fasted. I just didn't drink any water or eat anything.
There was one point where I was like, I think I probably could have gone here. I'm not going to say what it is because we're not in spoiler territory yet. But there's one moment where I was like, I think I probably could have snuck out for a minute here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just add, since we're talking about the length. I had actually no idea how long the movie was. I was going to assume it was two and a half.
Over three. Yeah.
It's 2:56, I thought.
Yeah, it's just.
Is it? I thought it was over.
It was 4 minutes shy.
With previews and everything,
Yeah, it's definitely 3, yeah.
with previews to when the credits start rolling was exactly 3 hours.
Nice.
Oh, for me it was 3.5. They had a lot of commercials
It's
before.
about 99% of a Lord of the Rings film.
But I will say, I could feel that it was long, but I was still invested. And I think that one of the things that helped the movie was the third act, and no spoilers, is able to keep the action going, where I think a movie generally, when you get to that third act, depending on what's actually happening, it might not be able to carry it through. So I felt that this movie, had a good pace throughout, despite its length.
Yeah,
it didn't really feel like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's get into spoiler territory. So,
Oh, wow, already? Okay.
So, for all those in the chat that haven't seen it, be gone and then come back after.
Yeah, just go see it. Look,
go see it. It's worth it.
Let's just put a
Wait. One thing before we go into spoiler territory. Hawk was telling me that when he saw it, there was a parent in front of him with 3 small children. Don't bring your children to this movie. This is not a children Batman movie.
Scary movie.
There was a couple there with like 3 small kids in the theater I was in too. So I was like,
maybe you went when Hawk went. Maybe.
I remember when I saw Watchmen, someone brought their kids.
Why? Especially Watchmen.
Oh my God. What was the war movie that Nolan did?
1914? No, wait.
No,
Dunkirk.
I went to see Dunkirk, and there were people with little kids in that one. And
well,
I'm like, what the hell?
I mean, if you want to teach them about history.
Yeah, that kind of movie I'm okay with. You want? It's.
What are you talking about?
It's not glorifying. It's not
okay,
like violence for the sake of violence. It's violence for the sake of history.
No, I understand what Brent is doing.
Appreciate the movie though.
How to make your kids be afraid to go into the basement? Watch them, watch a bunker explode with people in it.
I don't think that's an appropriate movie from
it's not.
perspective.
It's like It'd be the same reason that I would have no problem if I had kids. I'd have no problem with that at a certain age, them watching like Saving Private Ryan. Because like, yeah, it's horrific.
When my kids turn like 14 or 16, I'm going to show my kids.
Yeah, like I watched these movies when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Teenager, I would show my kids out. That being said,
he's not wearing a Batman cowl. I mean, what the hell?
That being said, this Batman movie definitely at least like I want to say at least 12 or 13.
Well, also try to get your kids to sit through a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, that's another part too.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's why
they got to be really into it.
Pause. Lord of the Rings. Pause.
And they're not going to pick up on the things in this movie that you need to pick up to stay invested.
Yeah, like that's my biggest problem. Like that's the same thing with the Dunkirk thing, right? Like I don't think it's appropriate to bring kids because they're not going to be able to follow the way the film is structured, let alone anything else. It's the same thing with Batman.
There are adults that didn't follow the way it was structured.
Yeah. But just because it's Batman doesn't mean that it's for everybody. And yeah, this is definitely a situation
also,
where it's a mature.
It's PG-13.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
fair.
this is a real PG-13 movie though.
Yeah.
It's not a bullshit PG-13.
They didn't drop a single F-bomb though, and I am a little, you get
they
one
did,
free one.
They did show that one boob though, so that helps.
I think it's too complicated.
Yeah, it was bat boob. No,
too
I was just joking.
What?
All right, now we're gonna go into spoilers.
So bad boob.
Spoilers. So warning for anyone out there listening or watching, we are gonna get into spoilers now. Let's just jump straight into it.
Can't believe Hugo Strange was behind the whole thing.
Who knew?
I mean, that would have been a good twist. Let's be fair.
I actually do want to talk about Gotham as a city before we talk about the film, because this is possibly one of the first times we really got the full like noir Gotham-esque like dark city. I really like Nolan's version of a realistic Gotham where
you mean Chicago?
Yeah, where the darkness was within the people, but like there's a shiny outside. I really enjoyed that. But I like that this was not just the people were corrupt, but also the city looked like it was dying. What do you guys think about this?
Beautiful. I loved it. The aesthetic of the city was absolutely perfect for the field. The only thing, like aesthetic wise, in the movie that I didn't really like is I felt Wayne Manor leaned a little too hard on the Gothic style. Like I really felt like I was in like an 18th century church in that house.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I thought. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I thought of that.
I couldn't really get a gist out of it, right? Because there was just here's a room. Here's sort of part of a staircase. See a lot of it,
but like specifically the one that really stood out was him and Alfred working on the cipher at the table, like during breakfast.
Yeah, it was just another world.
The two winding staircases and all of the architecture in there. I was just like, it's leaning a little too on the nose with Gothic here. Like,
you know what? I will agree with you. It did feel like a palace more than a house. Like it was weird.
That might be intentional because he is Gotham royalty.
He's Gotham's prince.
Yeah, I don't know. I see. I guess that's one of the things where like now we're going to compare at some point to other interpretations of Batman, and I think that we'll see when they go on to other films what they do with the Bruce Wayne aspect of it, because that's the thing. I felt like this movie. I like his Batman. I'll just say that right away. I like Robert Pattinson's Batman. I don't think we got enough of his Bruce Wayne. I think that was just. That was one of my questions. So that
the
part to me is linked,
not the Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. It's linked a lot to like his homestead, and that part of it. Yeah, I will agree. It stood out, but I'm willing to see if they can make that work somehow. So yeah, no, I thought that was a little bit of a surprise.
I thought it was a bold choice to make Bruce Wayne a meth head.
I'm pretty sure that's not meth. I'm almost certain that's epinephrine that he takes.
He's on something. Like,
well,
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
there's a reason Batman should be called Daredevil and Daredevil should be called Batman.
I will say that I am like Steve said, they didn't have enough Bruce Wayne, and I like seeing people's interpretations of Bruce Wayne, especially after seeing Robert Pattinson in Cosmopolis. He was amazing as this sick high society guy. I really wanted to see a little bit of that in this movie, and I think he would have played it well. And every time we saw Bruce Wayne, he was just sort of like a creepy emo loner guy.
Yeah, we never really got the Bruce Wayne persona because I mean,
it's early.
It's early, and this movie's focus wasn't on it, and that's fine. I didn't miss it, but it's like one of those things where like when Christian Bale did his Bruce Wayne, like that was like, oh, this douche, man. Like,
Yeah.
but it was a role, right? It was totally, but it wasn't an opportunity for this Bruce Wayne to become connected because the Batman persona was still percolating.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
That's
it's
sort of the point of the
also
movie.
that he hasn't figured out a use for Bruce Wayne
Yeah.
yet.
And I think that came at the end of the film, right?
I think that was
I agree.
that was a nice evolution. Was that like I hated Bruce Wayne through the entire movie. I did not like his interpretation of it. I did not like Matt
Yeah, he
Reeves'
was nobody,
direction
really.
towards it. But it did make sense at the end. Like once he starts to realize like who he is and the importance that not just he is Batman, but he is Bruce Wayne holds.
I don't know
towards
if-
helping the city, and I see that there was like kind of an epiphany there that we could.
I don't know if he saw it
it.
in Bruce Wayne, but he definitely saw it in Batman.
I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he did because I think it was a matter of like he looks at Batman as pure vengeance.
Yeah.
And now he's realizing there's more to me than just that. And
But
like,
but
as
Batman can
everyone
also be hope and vengeance, right?
But as Alfred is basically pushing him the entire movie to be like, hey man, you're Bruce fucking Wayne. Like,
Yeah.
you can do a lot of good in this city. Like you can do a lot of good with that.
Hope vengeance.
And then it was almost like at the end, it was like that sunk in. Like I need both parts. I need Batman and Bruce Wayne to be the ultimate savior of the city.
I thought it was definitely telling when he started talking to the mayor, like, and she was like, "You're Bruce Wayne. You have all this money. Your parents were philanthropists. They helped the city." Even though he was like, "Whoa, my parents were actually evil. They killed people."
Did you look her up?
Okay,
She's 24. Her character's running for the mayor of a city. She's 24.
Is she? I did not know. She did not.
Yeah.
Well, she was supposed to represent the new, right? So I guess it's fine.
Can you be 24 and run for mayor?
Yes.
Well,
I think
look,
so.
You know what? That's okay. I mean, there's going to be people who are going to attack the movie for, political reasons, have weird notions. In fact, in reality, there are some young, like, political candidates in the world, and there is a trend towards too many older ones. So
One of them's MP, and he's a
It's
real
I was
piece
gonna
of
say,
shit.
isn't there that shitty MP near
He's a
you?
big piece of shit.
Let's talk about Catwoman. What did we think of Zoe Kravitz's turn as the feline?
Awesome. It's Zoe Kravitz playing Zoe Kravitz. It was the role like, not to disparage, it was the role she was born to play, but it's the role she's played in every movie she's been in. This is just the first time where she really got to like really utilize that. She's essentially played the same role in every movie.
I don't remember in any of the movies.
I agree with that. She's better in this one than as that shitty, what was that X-Men role she had, right? Like that was.
She was an X-Men?
Oh, was she in first class? Oh,
yeah,
Angel.
she was like that dragon.
Angel.
Yeah, which is pointless. It was
That's
a throwaway
her?
role, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I agree with Brent. Like she always does play the same character, but this time the character actually has more longevity beyond and fits her. So.
And that was why, like, after watching it, like, I was like, she was the perfect person to play that part after seeing all the other roles she's done, because this was like a gradual evolution of her into this role.
But they worked her well into this too.
Fit. Her role in the film was real good.
Yeah, usually Catwoman is very much of an outsider, and the way that they were able to work her into the seediness of the city and this specific plot, I thought worked really well. It wasn't too overbearing, and it worked for her. And Batman and Catwoman are not the same, and it's okay.
What did you think about the switch where she was Falcone's daughter?
That was interesting.
That's fine.
I thought, what? Like, I thought, like, with the level of detective kind of convolutedness, like all the twists and turns, I didn't have too much of a problem with it, honestly. Like, it did inform a little bit of why a person like that would be part of that world, right? Because she did have an actual connection to it.
It feels very placeholder. Like it could have been like you just slotted anything. Oh, he killed my mother. He killed my father. He did, he did this.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, well, just pick one. Daughter.
Yeah.
Like good. Like it fits.
Sure.
And
it's done, and now she's.
I don't know if we ever knew who her mother or
her
father
parentage
were
was
in the
never
comic.
really important.
Never been a thing,
She actually, this isn't her first time playing Catwoman either. She was Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie. I'm going to go over to Twitch because we have a couple messages from Mirage Leonard 84. In terms of live action Batman, this I think was done the best. And the reason why is because I'm sick and tired of Batman always winning and being a literal god because he's Batman. He felt a lot more human in this one, which is, I agree.
This is true. I agree. Yeah.
That's the big compliment that I gave them about Batman was that, I mean, this isn't like he's not new. He's obviously established at this point. Like they show through the level of fear that everyone has in the city about him and seeing the symbol. But he's not infallible in this movie. Like, you see him making mistakes, and you see him, like, during the car chase with the Penguin, like, there's moments where you see, like, literal fear in his eyes, like, oh shit, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And you would not get that in any of the Nolan ones or any of
Christian Bale's Batman fucked up, but he wasn't like, he was so arrogant.
My biggest issue with Bale's Batman,
you were literally watching a
sorry,
you were literally watching a character like grow and learn from their mistakes. That was a fantastic touch.
Yeah, this was like a really good year one Batman.
I'm gonna finish Mirage's quote here. If I wanted endless violence, I'd go see a Marvel film. This was a great detective story with him trying to figure out what Riddler was doing, and pertaining to Catwoman. They actually made her a hell of a lot more useful than Anne Hathaway's Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, that's true.
Agreed.
That's totally true. Yeah. No, I have
feel
to
like
admit,
Marvel movies are endless violence, though.
I know.
There's
I love endless
3 or
violence.
4 big sequences that, like any action movie, I think.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think Batman, it was, they even had like that diary where he wrote that year 2 or something, right?
Yeah,
so there was like a certain like idea that this was the beginning, and I did feel that. And like I guess since we're talking about Batmans, I really like I really like Pattinson's Batman. When you look at Batmans over the years, you always have to compare the 2 roles together, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to see what he does with his Bruce Wayne. But I preferred this one over the Christian Bale Batman because, Christian Bale Batman, like as David said, he was really arrogant, right? Yeah. This guy is just driven and he fucks up. Yeah. And it's kind of refreshing to see that, and he's willing to learn because by the end, he learned something, right? Whereas, Christian Bale, it took him having his back broken before he learned anything, right? Yeah. So it was, which was fine because that was a plot point. Yeah. Right? That was the whole point of that. Okay.
I mean, it was a lot of building up to that moment in those films, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it worked within that context. But I always found his Batman very artificial. I mean, that ridiculous voice he put on, like, I couldn't get over that. Every time he spoke, it took me out of the movie.
Yeah, the great thing about this movie is that it took a lot from Batman Year 1, Year 2, and Earth 1. And a lot of those influences really shaped him because as a new superhero, like you can tell he doesn't... When he hit that fucking bridge, oh my God, the under thing of that bridge, I thought, man, he did. He did.
I find it really funny that they're able to take the same story because The Long Halloween was the inspiration for the Two-Face half of The Dark Knight, and then the rest of it is like
this movie
for everything that isn't the Riddler in this movie.
Did you
like? That's so like that just shows how rich Batman stories are. They were like, well, we'll take this part from here and this part from here. We'll make 2 different fucking movies.
Were you sad that, as a fan of The Long Halloween, I'm a fan of it as well. Were you sad that the Calendar Man
wasn't? Yeah, it was basically Riddler takes the place of Calendar Man. Yeah. Except this movie also takes place for like a couple of days instead of like several, right?
Yeah, I think it makes sense because you have to look at the lineage, like what Brent was saying about how they keep resetting these superheroes, right? And you got to kind of look at it and how do they keep it fresh, right? Because I mean, recently, I've been doing this deep dive into Spider-Man. It's like, well, at some point you gotta like
fight robots, right?
Heroes. Yeah, I mean, you have only so many villains to go through. You don't want the same villains over and over again. So I thought this was a really good use of someone like the Riddler because I don't know if they're going to be able to use him again. I honestly don't know what they're going to do next time because this was such a like
he had the glasses of Jim Carrey. Did you notice that the clear, the clear square ones? It was very crazy. Let's talk about the villains anyway. Let's start with Paul Dano's. Donos?
Riddle me this.
Riddler? I like him as an actor already, so seeing his portrayal of this was just it was eerie and creepy and amazing. When he took off the mask and was just
missing, right? Yeah. They made him like actually scary, and you're like,
I like
scary. Frank Gorshin is a big, fuzzball.
What made him more scary for me was that
how childlike he looks.
But he was also like he was relating with Batman. He thought that he had this symbiotic relationship with Batman, and they were taking down all these people because they were both like vengeance, and it was creepy to feel that it felt so real that this person who only had 500 followers on social media.
That was a very deep, dark website.
That was a dark web, I know.
No, it was an interesting take, an interesting modernization on the character because, in the past it was all about the riddles, but this was like, it got more into the psychology of why a person does anything in life, and I thought, again, like, it's a good use of a character like the Riddler in a first movie where you have a central mystery and maybe a not 100% effective Batman. And it made for like a really good sort of like pairing of the two. I honestly hope they don't use them again, but like I think it was great as like, because you can believe someone like that could cause this much trouble at this stage in the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
What I loved is just by the end of the movie, the way they juxtapose him and Batman by saying, you know, like, we're both in our own minds doing the same thing. We're both cleaning up the city. We're both doing this. The only difference is you were raised as a rich orphan and I was raised as a poor orphan. And that's the main difference.
Well, does he know that?
I don't think so.
They specifically left that vague in someone, because when he's like Bruce Wayne, and you're like, and he's like, oh shit, he knows who I am.
I think he knows,
But by the end, he's like, oh, he's just saying Bruce Wayne. He's not saying you're Bruce Wayne.
Plus, he gave, like, the last clue was the carpet shearer, right? And that's not something a person of means, like means would know about. So he definitely, like, I don't Bruce think he knew
how to install carpet.
No, he doesn't. So there's no way that I thought that, or at least personally, I don't think he knew that he was Bruce Wayne. But I liked that it was a little bit more vague.
Something I really liked about the Riddler's character is that they just dropped the line in the background, oh, he's a forensic accountant. And from that, you can just infer, oh, that's how he figured out the whole fund thing. That's how he figured out everything. He just dug into the finances of everything. Like, but it also takes someone who's very dedicated and very smart to do that, to figure out where all that money's going and who, you know, all this stuff. So, like, in one line, they went, yeah, that's how smart this guy is.
Yeah, the character flows in and out of that one description. I mean, having that profession is an ability, but it also does imply that he could have the interest and the and the depth.
Because otherwise you don't know how he knows what he knows.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. He'd just be a mad genius, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm really happy that there was one direction that I thought they were going to go.
What direction was this movie?
That was Eternals.
There was one direction I thought they were going with him that they didn't end up going, which actually I was pleasantly surprised by. It was, I thought they were going to reveal that he was the son of the journalist that was killed.
I think that's sort of implied.
It is definitely. There's a lot of people on YouTube saying that that's that's the case.
I thought for sure that that's what they were going to reveal at the end, especially because of the whole, like, you know, sins of the father, follow to the son and everything. So I thought they were creating this kind of father-son dichotomy, like, or parallel between the two of them as well.
Frozen,
I think.
And I was really happy they didn't. But at the end of the day, all I gotta say is, like, Paul Dano, however, I'm sorry.
How I fucked you all up by saying that.
God damn it.
I mean, for all I know, it's pronounced, you know, Chris. You know, but he was the one that, the main reason why I was excited for this movie, because I have been a fan of his for a long time. He is such an underrated guy who is just he's that guy who's on the cusp of, he just needs that one role that'll, like, just throw him into the spotlight. And I don't think this is going to be it for him. It should be, but it won't be.
Well, he spends most of the movie with a mask on his face.
Yeah, and that's the main reason why not. But he is such a fucking talented guy, and I was so excited when I first heard that he was cast as Riddler. I thought that was perfect.
He cares as an actor. I don't think he cares about that. I think he just wants to play interesting, like, roles.
I watched an interview with him recently, and he said he's one of those guys that's like, one for you, one for them kind of mentality, where he's like, I do this movie. He's like,
you do one for your friends.
Colin Farrell's, and he was like talking about the one for you, one for them mentality. It's like, yeah, one for you, one for me, right? Like, couple million for you, couple million for me, you know, like big.
But then he went, you know what? That's bullshit, because they're all for me. I was like, yeah.
No, he talked a little bit like in the interview about how it's like, you know, I take on one role, and then it's like, whatever that role that I've just taken on is, the next role I want to do like the antithesis to that, because I want to stretch my talents. So he's like, I just directed a movie. He was like, I just directed a movie where I play like a family man with a wife and 2 kids, and it's all nice and sweet. He's like, and then all of a sudden someone dropped the Riddler on my lap, and I was like, yes, yeah, that's next. Definitely, let's do that.
Can we continue on the Riddler, because I'm gonna go off of what Mirage wrote in the chat. The Riddler in this movie is very different than anything we've seen before. He's very much like Jigsaw from the Saw movies.
In the Arkham games, he's very much like that.
Yeah.
And And I think that just goes back to like the 66 Batman where it was all like stupid traps.
Yeah. I can't believe Batman had to get all 99 of those stupid little trophies just to solve the movie. So strange. What did you think about the idea of the traps and the really... It was very creepy. Everything he did was amazingly...
I parallel more to Zodiac because it was less...
I mean, he dresses like the Zodiac. The symbol was like the Zodiac killer, right?
Jigsaw never wanted to get caught. Fucking Alexa's going off even though it's not connected. It's not even connected to anything. It's just plugged in. But I parallel more to like the Zodiac because it was more about not taunting, but like I want to play a game and I want you to play with me, but I want to show that I'm smarter than you. And I felt like it was much more of a parallel to that. And then all of a sudden they start breaking up the ciphers, and I was like, oh yeah, Zodiac was 100% the inspiration.
Yeah, for sure. God, we got to move on to Colin Farrell because he was unrecognizable as the Penguin in this movie. He didn't have as big as a role as I thought, concerning all the marketing around the Penguin. Like they showed him a lot in the trailers, but I like that he was sort of an underling rising in this underworld. What did you guys think of Colin Farrell? Did I say Colin Firth? I think Colin Farrell.
No, you said Colin Farrell.
Good.
Yeah. No, he was great. I did not know. I kind of knew it was Colin Farrell because I'd heard some buzz about how unrecognizable he was. So I knew to look for that. But I was like, wow, yeah, no, I don't think Colin Farrell when he's playing this role. I honestly thought he was. I don't know who I thought he was.
If his name wasn't on the poster, I would have no idea that that's who that was.
Yeah.
Unrecognizable physically, vocally, everything.
But I think the fact that if there is going to be a show, that follows this,
there is a show,
and I think that's great. I mean, I think it's good that you got this veteran actor who's willing to like go all out for this role, even in this movie, which is quite small. It just informs Gotham, and that was one of the things that I liked about the movie overall is that the city felt more lived in, like what Eric was sort of saying. It was more, like broken down and all that. Like there was a broader feeling of the city having its own ecology, and so having Penguin even in a lesser role in this movie, I think hopefully will lead to more. So yeah, I loved him. He was just no idea. Colin Farrell, I definitely have a different opinion of him.
I can't wait to see more of him. Like that's what I saw after seeing this movie. I was like, I can't wait to see more of the Penguin.
I know there were criticisms saying that, like, well, they should have cast someone, and who would looks like the way they want. And I think the Penguin's the kind of character is like you can't just cast someone who looks like the fucking Penguin, especially if you need an actor of like decent quality, and obviously Colin Farrell is, because like even when Danny DeVito was the Penguin, like he was heavily prosthetic, right? Like when Burgess Meredith was the Penguin, like it's not like they just like go out there, like no, he was like squinting the whole time and shit, like. There's a lot because Penguin's like visuals are so important to the character because he's called the Penguin for a reason. If he was just a short fat guy, they'd call him like Tony. It wouldn't be like, oh, that's the Penguin. No, like the way he walks, the way he looks, the way he moves, like all these things are important for the character. And I really liked Colin Farrell's voice. I definitely recognized I could hear his voice in there. But it is definitely a voice I don't think we've ever, like anything we've ever heard from him before. And it definitely feels like, that's somebody from Gotham. Like that's a Gotham accent.
I did like too that I think he provided the one moment in the movie that actually had me laughing out loud. I don't know if anyone else caught this, but when he was handcuffed by the wrists and the ankles, and they took off on him, and he walks down the street waddling like a penguin.
Yeah, that was like, amazing.
I love that. That is so good.
Amazing. I think the last main character we haven't really talked about was Alfred, Andy Serkis's character from this movie.
Who
did we miss?
I would say
we haven't talked about Jim Gordon yet.
Jim Gordon. Okay, yeah, we'll end with him.
Probably a much bigger role than Alfred was.
Yeah. I was gonna say Alfred was hardly in this movie. What did you guys think of his turn?
That was a waste of Andy Serkis. I mean, I'm hoping that at some point they'll be able to. I mean, obviously you got someone like that, and he did well in the role. You believed him as the loyal, experienced, wise, protector of the family, who knew a lot more than he was probably, letting on.
Yeah.
And so, it was great to have someone like that. And you need that, right? Like, it's sort of like who else has played this role, right? Like we had Jeremy Irons, the last one.
Yeah,
right?
I like him a lot.
yeah, you need that British gravitas or whatever you want to call it, right? Like I
Andy
always say about
Serkis
Star Wars.
Australian or
I know,
He's New Zealand.
South African.
He's New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I didn't get the like the fatherly figure that Alfred usually is to him. But then again, I think it's also that's another one where we're building up a character and we're building into that.
It feels like a retroactive realization of like, oh, this guy was my father, not
because Bruce is really pretty much a teenager right now, like an angsty fucking teenager, and he's like, I hate everyone that's
53.
Yeah, except
I wish my parents were dead. Oh wait,
what did you like? I think they implied that he was the one who trained Bruce in this movie.
He said, there's a line where he goes, I can teach you how to fight, blah, 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 and something else. And I'm like, that's another thing where they like, in a movie this long, where they can just like, we don't have time to go into all that. We can just use this line. It's not even hanging a lantern on it. It's just like, we're going to have to come back to this. But here's a little tidbit about how this works.
Let's jump into Jim Gordon. I think Steve might have to jump out and jump back in. Let me write out and back in. Let's talk about Jim Gordon. Jeffrey Wright was amazing. Like I think he was a phenomenal Jim Gordon. Still a detective, not fully commissioner yet, but there's enough police death in the movie for him to go on.
Like Jeffrey Wright plays calm and like in control so well.
Yeah,
and Gordon's very much supposed to be like that kind of cop.
I'm
Like
Steve now.
Gary Oldman's Commissioner Gordon was pretty good, or Lieutenant Gordon was pretty good.
Yeah,
but he always seemed like he didn't exactly know what was going on. Whereas like Jeffrey Wright's like, no, I know how to be a cop. Like, let me be a cop. Like, even the way he was like, you're gonna, you punch me in the face.
I like that Jeffrey Wright played it that he knew that the police force was corrupt, but not as corrupt as it actually was. I thought that was a good revelation for.
He was like, that's a good cop. You're like, that's a bad cop. He's like, what about that guy? That's a good cop, right? No, that's a bad cop too. And he's like, are they all bad cops? And
what about that cop you beat up last night? Is he good? No.
No, they're all bad cops.
I really liked the line when he was like, he moonlights, for such and such, and Batman says, no, he moonlights as a cop.
That was a great line.
Yeah, just like, wow, slam dunk on that motherfucker.
And if Steve, you weren't here when we started talking about Jeffrey Wright. What did you think?
Just drops it, walks out.
Yeah. What I heard David say, like, it's true. Like, he has a certain level of competence. He maybe, but that's the thing. His naivete on some levels is countered by his sort of realism and his genuine, need to be like good. Like, it's all very simple, right? But yeah, you feel that he's competent, and he's trying.
Yeah,
and that's all you need.
That's sort of the weird thing about this movie is maybe the most unrealistic thing is when a competent cop is elevated to the position that Gordon's at, whereas all the corrupt cops are still not running everything.
Actually, what was his rank in this movie?
He was detective.
The detective is a lieutenant.
Yeah, he's still super low, so he's nowhere near commissioner, right?
But he's not a beat cop.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There's not that much higher to go. There's like captain, which basically runs a precinct. Yeah. And then after you run a precinct, there's deputy commissioner and commissioner. That's basically it.
But then all those people died, so he's just gonna go up.
Yeah, that's just it. Everybody above him got like destroyed. So.
Like I wonder how sweeping the arrests and stuff happened. Like after they got Falcone. I guess Falcone died, so that didn't really help.
But but the thing is, you can see the progression there, right? Like he's not automatically the commissioner, right? Like you see that he's a hardworking detective. He's made it to detective because he's obviously got some skills, right? And
he passed the exam
that early. Okay, all right. Even that early, he's willing to risk everything by bringing the Batman in on things.
It's true.
That's obviously going to pay off, right? In the long run, people are going to trust him with that.
I loved how much everyone just shit on Batman every time he's in there. What the fuck is this guy doing here? Get him out of here.
Well, it's true, right? It's weird.
What did you
really waiting? I was really waiting for a moment. Maybe it'll be in the next movie if they make another one where he's like, you're contaminating my crime scene, and Batman's like, this is my crime scene. You get the fuck out.
What did you think of the relationship, the Batman and Commissioner Gordon relationship? It seemed fraught at times, but there was always an underlying trust. Right?
Yep.
It's two people who realize that they both have the same intention ultimately, but they both have very different methods of how to do it.
Yeah.
and each thinks they're right, and each thinks the other should do it their way, and it's so it creates that tension. But at the end of the day, like we're fighting the same fight here.
Oh god, the escape from the police station was so good. Like I loved it so much. That was a great moment.
Pulled your punch. I did.
Oh yeah, that was.
Let's talk about the actual plot of the Riddler's plot, which was bringing all these people together to sort of get rid of the
Freeman and Brad Pitt are brought together to solve a series of murders based on the 7 deadly sins.
We can't talk about that guy anymore, right?
Yeah,
he's a piece of shit.
There's a lot of people that are online talking about the ending of this film, and they're like, "Oh my god, there's echoes of January 6th and the trucker convoy and stuff like that." And Matt Reeves is like, we made
the fact that they made a kill box and then started shooting civilians. Like that's a really when I saw that like the makings of that, I was like, oh, this movie's really fucking dark.
Yeah.
That's really like that. I don't think there's been like a nuclear bomb, big deal. They're rounding people up and shooting them. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ! Like,
and
just that chat thing where it's like, oh, this is where you get the mask. Oh, and they got the jackets on sale right now. Don't forget the cling wrap.
Oh
and
my
they
god,
were guns okay, and blah blah blah. And I remember, and I read that first line when it said rifles are good, and I was like, rifles are good. I was like,
yeah,
that's weird. That's a weird thing to say in a chat group.
I read all the messages and I had no idea where they were going with it. And then as soon as they revealed the one I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Is it bad that when they were in the situation and they started firing, I thought actually shotguns would have been better?
No,
from that distance.
They're too high up.
Do you not know how guns work?
Yeah,
no, but that's not enough. You're not going to get enough fatalities. Well, it depends on the spread, right? We're talking about
these people have there's no medical care to be had. And let's not get, because shrapnel is much worse.
How far was that thing at the top of the building? I thought it was
100 feet up.
So it's like 100 feet. You can fire a shot, especially
I know,
down. Yeah.
but okay, yeah, that's fair. Let's not get
because we're getting dangerously close to playing.
Let's not do that.
No. It's a good point, but getting back to what Eric said and referencing what David said, it's dark. And what I was thinking of this was the Las Vegas shooting, right, where the guy just had machine guns set up. So anyway, just leave it alone. That was the reference I thought he was trying to make.
The idea that these people thought like they were influenced by both the Riddler and Batman. Like they all said that they were vengeance. What did you guys think? Like that was the moment where I feel like Batman was like, oh fuck, I'm doing bad right now.
Yeah, it was an interesting idea because I think it tied into like, again, so many themes they were able to just kind of like combine across the entire plot, which is what I think made it a little more substantial than like a typical superhero movie where there's different versions of the same thing and it's not that simple, like that was sort of what I walked away from. Like, yeah, it's one thing to just say, oh yeah, Batman is vengeance, right? Like that's cool and all, but that's not the whole story, and I feel like that's the thing. There's a lot more potential for this character and to show the dark side of the same thing that he was pursuing, that Riddler is pursuing.
I mean, it's the whole reason like Batman can't cross that line, right? That's what Batman crossing the line looks like, is these people, right? You just show the dichotomy of like the Riddler's one thing, but then look at these other people who want to be like these guys.
Totally,
but they've totally taken it the wrong way.
Yeah, and I think that's what Alfred was trying to explain, to Bruce earlier, and I think that this really. Well, when Alfred goes down and then like all this other crap comes up, then he realizes, Alfred was right. There's actually more to just being pure vengeance. There's kinds of vengeance, It's not even vengeance at that point. It's justice, whatever.
That's the thing, is that like Batman's always like on vengeance, and like not just in this movie, but in plenty of the comics. But Batman is usually very much just about justice. So it always feels weird when he's like, I'm vengeance. Then it's like, no, the Punisher is vengeance.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah, the Punisher is actually vengeance.
But if you watch the Punisher movie with Tom Jane, he specifically says, I'm not out for vengeance. I want justice.
Well, then if you watch the original Daredevil movie, that's vengeance. That's not a fucking Daredevil. That guy's fucking the Punisher.
You were bitten by a blind man.
I like Thomas Jane.
Tom Jane's great.
Yeah. Any final thoughts about this little thing about the?
There's two things I love.
Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, because I know we'll go into the next character.
Just really briefly, I just want to know if anyone else, if I caught this correctly or not. But when they like the one he's beating up at the end, and they all stop him and they peel the mask off, was it the guy from the funeral?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
It was,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought so, but I was like, I don't know if I'm just misaligning this in my head or if it was actually the guy from the funeral that was bitching
No,
about everything.
No, I
Okay.
mean, I can see why people, like what Eric was saying, like how people were making associations with January 6th and whatnot. Like, I know that movie was not developed with that in mind. But
No,
I
they
think that
wrote it
there
in
was-
2017, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that I think you can sadly make that connection, right? People who are angry need outlets, and I think that was the reason for them even stopping on that guy in the funeral, right, in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Was just to show where do these people end up, right? So it's just more connective tissue that this movie was.
I think it's also just a little thread to say, like, this is where the thugs come from. This is where the Riddler gets thugs. This is like everybody,
Right,
because
yeah,
every Batman henchman always has thugs, and there's always a reason. And a lot of them in the Gotham and stuff are just getting paid, but
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily
they're
work
just
in this
goons.
world with the
They're
Riddler.
just hired goons. Yeah.
Yeah.
In this case, yeah, they're social
Like,
media
they're
people who.
zealots.
Yeah, these are people who feel they've been wronged, and the Riddler appealed to something in them, and they were willing to follow through. So yeah, it's dark. It's
Mhm.
much more connected to reality,
Yeah.
and sadly, than the writers probably originally intended. I mean, I can
Well,
see that connection
Yeah.
to like real life now.
Mirage on Twitch is saying that the Riddler is the first Batman villain like that we saw that actually unnerves it unnerves us as an audience member. And
I don't know. Jim Carrey's version of the Riddler is unnerving, but in a very different way.
fair
I'm not
enough.
responding to that.
There is a cameo we get at the end of the movie of Barry Keoghan. Keoghan, I think that's how you pronounce his last name.
I think
Did
it's
you want to say
Keegan.
Keegan? Really? Okay.
I think Kagan or Keegan or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he's British, so I don't know how
Those
they're
British people.
Keoghan and their weird name Dano.
Kagan.
Big from the Internals.
Anyway, so yeah, he's labeled as unseen Arkham prisoner, but he is the Joker. Obviously, we all know he's the Joker. He actually had a scene earlier in the film that they had filmed where Batman goes to talk to him, and he goes, "We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary." So,
Well, Matt Reeves in a couple of interviews says he's not the Joker in that scene. You know what I mean? But like it's supposed to be like he'll become the Joker.
Sure.
It's all in response. It's all supposed to be in response to Batman being
Yeah.
Batman. All of his villains are gonna.
Okay.
They
interesting.
become- Lately,
how far
all
ahead
the
is he?
Sorry.
How far
Go
ahead is he?
ahead.
Sorry. How far ahead is he playing this thing? Like, is Barry Keoghan, is he like a placeholder, or
No,
is it
if
like,
they make a
he's
movie,
cast.
he'll be
Yeah.
the,
He
he'll
is
be the
going-
Joker.
okay.
Yeah.
That's,
But-
I wasn't sure, but I was like the whole time I'm like, I recognize the voice.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the actor, but I'm like, I recognize the voice. It's familiar, so this must be who
He's
they've
in
got pegged
Dunkirk.
for it.
Yeah, he's also
Yeah.
in Dunkirk.
He's Matt Reeves said that they don't want the Joker to be the villain of the next one because that would just seem like too much.
The Dark Knight.
Well,
Yeah,
now,
they said that they do want to eventually use him or like have him be like that person that's
He'll be
always
the hero
there.
of the next one.
I
the
would love for them to try to do a live action version of Hush, but I feel like Hush doesn't work without a dead Robin, and we're not going to get a.
I would
with
love
Robert
to see a
Pattinson, we will
Robin.
not get a Robin.
Matt Reeves has said that he wants Robin to be in in one of the movies.
Yeah.
I just don't see. I like Robert Pattinson as Batman, but like I don't
Yeah.
see him working with a Robin. Whereas like Christian Bale's Batman, I'm like, yeah, he could have a Robin.
I
But-
think that
That was my assumption. Was that's why they kept focusing on the mayor's kids so much throughout the movie.
yeah.
yeah, I was kind of wondering about that too.
Yeah. Well, he is an orphan. Someone needs to take care of him. Why not a wealthy
Well, the guy, he's got to kill his mom
random
first.
man? Fair.
Is his mom an acrobat?
Not all
Could
of the
be.
not all of the Robins
Depends
are
on who you
acrobats.
ask.
Yeah. What do we think about Barry Keoghan as the Joker or the eventual use
I mean,
of him?
we don't know.
I didn't want to read into it too much.
Yeah.
I was sort of wondering where this movie fits in the now fractured Warner Brothers DC
It's standalone.
universe.
It is.
Matt
Yeah,
Reeves
I
wanted to do
figured
standalone. He
it was
doesn't wanna-
completely its
Yeah.
own thing. So I was
He-
like,
it
yeah,
was-
whatever.
He was only going to make a Batman movie contingent on the fact that he didn't have to touch all the other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's why he and Ben Affleck didn't work out.
Yeah.
For many
Like
reasons, I'm
he's
sure.
basically said
Sure.
he wants to make a trilogy, like his own trilogy in his own universe, and he's good.
okay,
I'm fine with
that's
that.
good to know.
And the DC heads were like, all of our movies moving forward are multiverse movies, so they can take place anytime. They don't have to connect, but they
Yeah.
can if you want. I was like, okay, that's confusing, but okay.
Whatever. It's a better strategy.
Yeah.
I think his Joker was fun. I like actually reflecting on this over the years. It's funny how the Riddlers become more like the Joker and the Jokers become more like the Riddler. Like in the respect that convoluted plots start to occur with the Joker more and more, and the Riddler becomes more insane. Because he wasn't insane before, right? But now he's absolutely insane, right? So it's kind of funny to have the two of them just sort of having their conversation. I don't know what's going to come of that.
I'm not insane.
Whatever.
I just like riddles, guys. What's so weird about riddles?
I would
In
love
the
to see
age of Google, you'd have to be insane to like riddles.
I would love to see the
Garbage now.
Riddler like consult for the Gotham PD in the next movie. I think that would be a great way to use him if they do bring him back.
I think you could end the third movie with the Hush moment. I thought they were going to do it in this movie with the whole riddle thing, but maybe they'll build up the Riddler a little more and maybe do a Robin stuff. And
Didn't the word "hush" actually come up in one of the ciphers?
It's written.
Yeah.
It was written. Yeah.
But the scene at the end of Batman Hush where he goes to the Riddler and Riddler's like, "I figured out who you are," and he's like, "Well, the thing Enigma or Nashton in this or whatever, he's like about a riddle is that if everybody knows the answer, it's worthless." And he was like, "Damn it, I can't tell anyone you're Batman." And I'm like, yeah, I thought that scene was going to be in this movie, but I could still see that playing out down the line.
Another important aspect of any of these Batman movies is the score, and I think each one has been very different and very unique. What did you think of Michael Giacchino's version?
This might be the most Batman score we've heard since '89.
I agree. Yeah, right there. I don't need to say anything else. The only comment I'll make is I wish I'd not seen the fucking trailer, because the trailer had the score all over it, and it showed all the best cinematic scenes in the movie, and it didn't ruin the movie. But goddamn, man, every single scene that was in the trailer is like the coolest looking thing. But yes, getting back to the score, cool score.
There was no more perfect song than Something in the Way.
That was amazing.
Oh,
like an
God.
amazing use for that. And now all these people on the internet are like, "What is this new band playing this song?" I was like,
We need Batman to solve the murder of Kurt Cobain.
I will say personally, I think maybe the only slight thing I didn't like was they used the motif a lot, a lot. I like the motif though, so it didn't really bother me. But I was just like, okay, there's the motif again. They're gonna use it again.
I was wondering, because I had actually caught the trailer and I really, remember these things. I was like, oh man, I wonder if it's because I heard this before that it's kind of overdoing it. But yeah, I think they kind of overdid the slow theme a little too much. I think they needed a variation on that from time to time. Because obviously the part where he's like walking and it's like the penguin's upside down, and everything's on fire and it's raining. I mean, that's like fucking awesome, right?
Yeah.
But it was just a little bit too many times they had used that exact same tune, right? Like that was the perfect moment.
Yeah.
Anyway,
agreed. Do you guys want to? Do you have any other thoughts on the film before we say where we want to see where this is going?
I have two.
Yeah, go for it.
And one is I loved it when he gave himself epinephrine and then just went ape shit.
I was like,
That's
oh my
true.
God, he gave himself NOS.
Yeah. Because he's like, I'm about to pass out. And then, but it just shows how connected he and Catwoman, because they really, really want to push the connection between him and Selena.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is fine, which is great. I really like, and that's the time he can almost not control himself, but you would have a hard time with a bunch of adrenaline running through your system. And also, did anyone else notice the parallel between him and Falcone, where they both wear sunglasses? Falcone wears sunglasses even at night. That's because Falcone, he doesn't go outside.
I didn't notice that. We didn't even talk about Falcone. Do you guys want to?
He's not in the movie very much.
Corey Hart, Sunglasses at Night. Let's do it.
Or the relationship with Bruce's parents and the underworld.
That's taken straight out of the Long
Year
Halloween.
One and Earth One as well. So Earth One or Year One?
The thing where
I think it's Earth One.
Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2. There's an animated version up. I don't think it's not nearly as good as this movie, but all that shit plays out in it. Where even this, you see the scene where Falcone's saved by Thomas Wayne, and
Bruce
Bruce
is at the top of the stairs.
There's so if you wanted more of that, you could watch that
for sure.
No, I think it's cool that they've actually taken this. I don't want to call it a lesser known story, but it's one of those comic book stories that came later that really people have latched onto because it's good, right? And applied it really well to this film, because I guess my one thought leaving this film is I don't know what they're going to do for the next film, because this was just a lot of nice threads laid side by side, and it worked for every character. They didn't have to overdo the Penguin. They had a nice Falcone thing. Okay, sure, fine. He's the dad of the Catwoman, but the whole experience was a good mystery with a lot of discovery, a lot of twists and it worked. And I'm like, man, I don't know what they could do next time.
Is there a villain you'd like to see?
Eggman, Egghead.
That Pharaoh guy.
Oh no!
He just called King Tut.
King Tut. Oh my God.
Captain Cold.
Brent?
No, wait, that's Flash.
No, that's Flash.
He
Mr.
has
Freeze.
announced. Trying to find the list, but he has announced who he wants to be villains in the upcoming movies.
Ooh.
Like desiring so.
Ruin it for us.
I would love a Clayface.
Personally, I'd love to see a morbid Mr. Pig, like a really dark Mr. Pig.
I could totally see them doing Mr. Pig. That's terrible.
Mad Hatter would be amazing. That's what I think just Mirage wrote in the chat.
So Robert Pattinson and Reeves have both expressed interest in eventually including Robin and featuring villains such as Calendar Man, Mr. Freeze, Hush.
I would love to see
and
Mr.
the
Freeze.
Court of Owls.
Court of Owls, yes. Like
Sure.
they
Those would be good.
They touched
If
about
they
the
can't-
underworld a lot, right?
If they can't do like a proper because I don't think anybody like a fucking acrobat kid is so weird now.
Mhm.
But to be like, because Dick Grayson is supposed to be like the heir of the Court of
Of the
Owls.
Talons, yeah.
He becomes Talon
Yeah.
at one point. So like bringing him in that way, being like Batman turning a villain to being a good guy would be cool before Dick has like a chance to
I would
actually
love-
be evil. That'd be really neat. That'd be a cool twist.
That's
That's
what
like
Hawk
two
wants to
steps
see,
away,
too.
though. That's 2 steps away, though, because you need to establish Robin.
I think the end of the movie is him turning Dick Grayson from being like he's like, listen, don't kill.
Okay. Sure.
And the whole movie, like he's like trying to kill, whoever for the Court of Owls, and Batman keeps foiling him, and Dick keeps pushing further and further for it until he's like, you don't get it. Like this isn't who you should be. It's like, you don't get it. My parents were murdered, and he's like, my parents were murdered.
What if he was trained by the Court of Owls but doesn't know that he's bad and
Well, yeah, of course he would know he's
or at
bad.
the end of the second movie he finds out that he's been trained by this evil organization, and that's like an Empire Strikes Back moment.
And then in the end credit scene, he's beaten to death by the Joker with
Could
a
you
crowbar.
imagine? Oh my God. I would love to see Mr. Freeze show up because Heart of Ice.
Yeah,
was
I
a
know. Heart of
phenomenal-
Ice is my favorite thing of all time. They're never going to be able to do it, though.
Mr.
'cause
Freeze
it's
might
too
be the
crazy.
best villain Batman actually has.
It's too like it depends on what kind of. The thing is, this Batman series now, this new version, it's very realistic, very much set in the real world, whether they want to or not, right? So I don't know. I think it's going to be more stuff that has to do with characters and their decisions, as opposed to high tech.
We need Mr. Freeze because it's been 25 years and we still can't wash the fucking taste of Schwarzenegger out of our mouths.
Yeah, but you can
Like,
watch the animated
killed
Mr.
the
Freeze
dinosaurs?
movie,
Yeah.
The Ice Age.
which is not even accurate.
They definitely can't use Black Mask, right? Because Black Mask was in
Ice to see you.
Bird
Well, I
of
think
Prey.
he's Black Mask.
Bird of
They
Prey.
should
Chill
Black
out.
Mask.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems. I think it would be weird if he was a main
It's
villain.
just that he's not the thing is Black Mask's not an interesting villain. He's the most mustache fucking twirly, like, if anybody gets in my way, I'm gonna fucking kill him with my bare hands. And you're like, all right, we get it, you're a bad guy. He's like, I run the mob in this town. It's like every time the Joker shows up, you piss yourself.
Fair enough. Is there anyone in the chat that wants to say? I like how each.
I
Let's
have
kick
before we
some
move on.
ice.
I have a gripe with the movie.
Cool
You guys maybe help me
party.
understand, and I have a question for everybody.
Okay, let me read
So the gripe
Mirage's
is-
last thing first.
Oh, okay.
One thing I forget to mention. I like each hour of the I like how each hour of the film
The film had a different
focused on
villain.
a different villain. Like
Yeah,
hour 1 was Penguin, hour 2 Falcone, hour 3 was Riddler. Because sometimes when they fit in too many villains, it doesn't work. But in this film, it was done very well. That's
That's true.
I didn't even
That's
think
very
about that.
true.
I
That's
loved
cool.
how they had like a
Yes.
proper finale for both the Falcone storyline and the Riddler storyline.
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
almost like the movie had two endings for that reason, but it worked.
No, that's a very good point. I was going to mention that also alongside with like I don't know what the fuck they're going to do next time because I'd love for them to do another plot that's this complicated with this many characters,
Mhm.
and maybe just this many because the tendency is every time they do a sequel they got to add more guys, right? This one had 4 or 5 guys like right out of the gate, right? So I hope they can do that again, or maybe even limit the number of guys a little bit more and just have still a solid mystery. But that's an excellent point. Because if you look at the progression of like every superhero, they always add one more villain or maybe 2 at a time, and it just ends up being stupid, right? So I
Did
hope they
anyone
keep
else
it limited.
notice
next
that
time.
without Catwoman, this movie's just another Glenn Ross. Like There's no other women in this movie.
Yeah, there was Bruce Wayne's maid who answered the phone that one time.
That random lady. Yeah.
I'm just going to use Mr.
There was the
Freeze
mayor.
quotes at the end of the episode.
All right,
Allow
so
me
Brent,
to
you had your
break
gripe
the
and
ice.
whatnot.
Okay,
My
so the gripe
name
that I
is
had
Freeze.
is I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but at the end of the movie, the dome that they're bringing everyone into is big, concave down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What was the logic of the city is being flooded?
Because you're
Let's
supposed to be able to
usher-
close it
let's-
off, and then it actually hold the
let's
pressure of the water.
Let's usher everyone in the city into a giant fucking hole, and then the water's coming to try and fill it up.
Do you
I'm not
remember
gonna hold that
Hurricane
against
Katrina? Because I do, and that's what they did.
Yeah, I'm not so confident that in a crisis situation the government thinks about the logistics of these things. That's just the protocols to bring people to a central location. And they don't think about flood water.
But even like competent people like the mayor, where they're like, "We need to get you out of here." She's like, "No, I'm staying right where I am." In this
I guess I'm
She wasn't
cynical.
the mayor yet, but
I guess I'm cynical. I don't think
that was her inauguration.
Yeah, that was-
she was the mayor elect. Anybody can be
elect.
elect. At least.
She wasn't the mayor yet.
So out of curiosity,
Plus, she had been shot.
so they bombed off this section and flooded it. Is this section now the Narrows? Is that what we're getting
Probably,
to?
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
That's pretty
Getting
fucking
into
cool.
all this.
The
Nice.
back
And
end
then-
mythology.
A bit of a mess.
The question I have to pose is, as
Question
this
two.
was originally intended to be the solo Batfleck movie, how different would it have
Was
been
it?
had it been actually? Yes,
They
it was
retooled
originally
it.
They
supposed to
retooled
be.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They retooled
Originally,
it
and
because
then
they wanted
when he
him
pulled
to
out
be-
of it, that's when they retooled it to make it the
year
year
one,
one
yeah.
version.
Interesting. Well, I mean, it had nobody involved with any of the other Justice League shit, right? So it would have worked. And I mean, frankly, I liked Ben Affleck's Batman and his Bruce Wayne.
There'd be a lot more
I just
dead
like-
criminals in that version.
The other one was also
Do you-
supposed
do you
to
think we
focus on Deathstroke too, right? So there was a
Sure.
lot of different.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, do you think they still would have gone with the Riddler with
I
like
don't think so.
Penguin? Like, how would it have varied?
It
like,
was originally from what Batfleck had said, or Ben Affleck. I shouldn't call him Batfleck. He said that
Fine.
what happened is that Deathstroke found out his identity and was hunting Batman.
Okay.
And that's what the
See,
process is.
I could see that version of Batman, Batfleck, being like, I gotta go warn Dick Grayson. And Dick Grayson's like, fuck you, man. Like, after you started killing people, like, enough. And he's like, you don't understand, Deathstroke's coming after me. And he's like, you probably deserve it. And then, but Dick is the better Batman in the end and has to actually come and save Batfleck.
I would love
fucking watch
that. Oh
movie.
my god, yes.
That all sounds
Jason
cool.
Ackles as Nightwing.
Who?
I mean, that all sounds cool, but
Jason
I feel like
Ackles.
Jensen Ackles.
Jensen Ackles. Oh my god, why did I say Jason?
No, he's Red Hood. Come on, he was so good under the Red Hood,
That's fair.
and he cosplayed as the Red Hood for this Halloween.
nerds.
Yeah, it's true.
These are all
Anybody catch the
nerds.
trailer of him as Soldier Boy now?
Oh my god, he looks so good as Soldier Boy.
We didn't talk about The Boys Diabolical, which was phenomenal, but
Well,
we should talk
can
about
talk
that next time.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about it maybe right before The Boys premieres
Mm.
because that would be a good time.
I'm waiting to watch it until closer to the boys starts.
That's fair. It's not super connected. There are moments, I guess.
I've heard there's some moments that are canon. They have said some parts.
I
of it
think
are
he
canon,
said that
but-
most of it is canon.
The last episode is 100% canon.
Yeah, for
apparently.
sure.
It'll play into the new season.
That makes sense after what happened in. We'll not talk about that anyway. There's a question in the chat. Do we think we will ever get a solo Nightwing live action film someday done correctly?
No.
No.
He's not a big enough character.
They need the Batman to have a good Robin, and if that happens, maybe.
And I think we could have from Ben Affleck. I think we could have if we'd had a good enough movie. Because we could have had
They
Red
set
Hood.
it up.
We could have legit been like, here's the 3 Robins, and had awesome
Yeah.
movies.
They
But
set up that there was a history there, yeah.
but Robert Pattinson's too young, and I don't see him. And I just don't see him being a good mentor to a Robin.
It'd be neat if they fast forwarded Robert Pattinson like 5-10
Oh,
years.
I'm sure.
Because he's supposed to be
we'll go into
early
the future.
20s in this movie, which I don't understand.
And he's older than me.
Yeah, he's like 35 or something, right?
Yeah.
So it would be cool. Episode 3.
That's
with
the diabolical.
drug. Oh, okay, cool. The drug.
Star Wars
that makes
episode 3
sense.
is canon. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, weird. Okay. Any final thoughts from the chat or from you guys about the Batman? Any questions? Any?
Oh man,
It was a good movie. I really.
Go ahead.
This might be, other than Under the Red Hood, the anime, because I love that cartoon. This might be my favorite Batman film.
Cool. Good praise.
I really like The Dark Knight, like a lot.
Yeah, I still have to put The Dark Knight over it because I could see myself watching The Dark Knight a lot more in the future still than I would this movie. But this is a solid number 2 for me. Like this, I went in with zero expectations.
It's not a wet number 2.
No, solid, baby.
Good proof.
Filled with kernels.
It's a good. Now we have a real sort of discussion now because we have like 5-6 Batmans now, and it's interesting because they all sort of have an essential Batman quality to it, and I'm glad that this one didn't miss the mark. I mean, I think it still hits, what people think of, when we think of Batman. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
Agreed.
I can't stand Christian Bale's like Batman voice. I just can't.
We didn't talk about that.
I love.
His voice is
Batman.
good. Yeah. There's not much else to say.
I love the Batman, but I love Pattinson's Batman voice. I think it's fine. It's minimalist. It's what you want. And I think there's still a lot of potential that we don't know yet. So I'm happy with this one. And I have to admit, I don't know if this is a movie I can rewatch over and over again. It's pretty long.
There are
scenes.
The Nolan ones are easier.
It's a heavy movie, right? Like I don't know how heavy. Like if I can watch a heavy movie frequently anymore. I'm getting too old. My favorite Batman voice, Ben Affleck. I love the
voice changer from Arrow.
Oh, he's good.
Yes,
I like Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck is one of my favorite Batman, and
he's a good Batman. He was a good Batman and a good Bruce Wayne.
I think second favorite Batman, number 1, Bruce Wayne.
For who?
And then I would say Keaton is a solid number. I don't want to say solid number 2 again. Sorry, Keaton is number 2 for both in my eyes.
Yeah,
second best Batman, second best Bruce Wayne. I think Pattinson's got third best Batman, but the worst Bruce Wayne.
We don't really know.
I don't know.
We don't really know.
Val Kilmer's the worst Bruce Wayne.
My god, I forgot. Oh no, God, I forgot about Kilmer and Clooney. Oh yeah,
they're at the bottom.
But a good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
I didn't mind Val Kilmer's Batman.
Val Kilmer's Kilmer's Batman isn't terrible. His Bruce Wayne is terrible. Right?
I think
like,
he's the worst.
Forget about those two.
Adam West is like a 3 across the board. I think.
He's the gold standard.
But the weird thing is, I think that Kevin Conroy, being so prolific, he's the only Batman we've been able to have that you can take seriously, that you can laugh at,
True.
That but that can play every version of Batman. He plays the super scary Batman, but he can also play the Batman who is a mentor. And that's the thing we don't get a lot with a lot of the Batman is that a lot of times like this is the loner. But Batman, when you read the comics, it's very much about he is a family. He has a family.
I can't.
And I think
we need the Bat family.
And only a couple of actors who have played Batman have been able to pull that off. Obviously, Adam West can do that because they started with Robin and they had Batgirl and stuff. And I think Ben Affleck could have done it, but they didn't want to go in that direction, really.
Yeah. But Kevin Conroy's the voice I hear when I read comics, so he's the definitive Batman for me.
He's been doing it the longest, basically.
He's the voice I hear when I have a solid number 2.
Mirage on the chat said, I think I have to agree with him on that. I would go Under the Hood as the first Batman, then the Batman, then Long Halloween Part 1 and 2 for his top favorite or their top favorite Batman films. They also like Troy Baker's Batman voice in the Batman versus Ninja Turtles animated film. I haven't seen that one yet. It
was also Troy Baker in Arkham Origins by WB, right?
No, he did Joker in that.
No, I think he did both.
He did both? Let me see.
Are you serious? Okay, I gotta look that up.
Yeah, I gotta see. Batman.
I might be wrong.
Oh, more Mr. Freeze here. Okay. Mercy.
Yeah,
I'm afraid my condition has left me cold.
So Arkham Origins.
Of mercy.
I think
Troy Baker did the Joker, and Batman was done by. Why can't I find it?
Tonight's forecast. A freeze is coming.
Why? Where's Batman?
I genuinely think that Mr. Freeze, like they should do Batman, like villain
Roger
movies.
Craig Smith. I don't know.
Oh, Roger Craig Smith. He's Pathfinder and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, cool. All right.
I will blanket the city in endless winter.
I
Just
actually
called
think
him
Roger Craig
the
Smith
N-word.
Roger Craig Smith actually has a pretty similar voice to Troy Baker, so I can understand why I made that mistake.
Fair. All right. Awesome. We're done. This was great. This was a great talk about the Batman. I don't know.
Batman.
I don't know what we're talking about next. We have 2 weeks, so
Your homework,
knows?
viewer and listener, is to go watch
the
The
Batman.
Boys Diabolical
and
The Batman.
When
I
does
mean,
the
no,
boys
if you've
come out?
already if you watched this long and you didn't see the Batman, you fucked up.
That's true. The Boys doesn't come out till June, right? So we got time.
Oh my god.
We have Moon Knight soon. So
We have
Really?
Moon into the
Moon
month
What's
and we
the
have
date?
Kenobi
What's the date
after
of
that. 30th.
Yeah, the 30th is Moon Knight.
30th of March.
This
March.
month, yeah.
Oh, so sweet. I avoided the trailer. I didn't even see the trailer. I'm so stoked for Moon Knight. Though.
Yeah, don't worry. They aren't doing the Batman of the Marvel universe, which people are wrong to say.
Yeah. No, he's a lame Batman.
Just
Right,
Night
Steve.
Thrasher is Batman of the Marvel.
All right.
We did miss an opportunity, Steve, to talk about the Irish horror, given the fact that it is St. Patrick's Day in 3 days.
I know, but I only watched 3 movies. So I feel bad. It's fine. I was slow on
There
it.
will be a review for Gran Turismo hopefully in the next week. I'm gonna try and grab.
Play that so bad.
We'll talk about it, Brent. I know you started playing it. I've been
Yeah,
playing
I've not
it.
been playing it. I know Mark's been playing the shit out of it
Mark,
too. So.
it's all he plays. That's all
Yeah.
I've seen him play. All right, have a good night, everyone. We will
Happy St.
talk
Patrick's Day.
soon, and thank you for coming. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Iceman cometh.
Well, that's it for us this week on Geeks with Kids. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at podcast@geekswithkids.ca. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekswithkids. Follow us on Twitter at geekswithkidstn. Check out our pics on Instagram at geekswithkids. And you can find all of this good stuff on our website at www.geekswithkids.ca. So if you like what you hear, why don't you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.